The others that I have at point guard, so we have Nikola Topic and Reed Shepherd. We've
Mhm.
talked extensively about them. But the other three that I have here are Rob Dillingham, a teammate of Reed Shepherd, who is much more of an off the dribble, go get a bucket scorer right now. And it was funny because like most of Reed Shepherd's assists in the highlights I watched today were to Rob
Mhm.
Dillingham on jumpers. But great passes. But the other two names that I have here that maybe may not be as talked about, you remember Isaiah Collier? Remember when he was near the top of the?
I
Yeah,
remember
so
when a lot of people had him at 1.
yeah. So that's not the case anymore.
Mhm.
But if I'm ranking my top 5 point guards, he is still in there. Um, I need to go look into his tape later in the season to kind of see why he fell a little bit before I go off of all the hype from earlier in the year because that's mainly where my knowledge is. But here's a name, Ethan, and I'm really excited. I don't know why. I think it's just because I feel like his name is overlooked this year. Jacoby Walter, point guard from Baylor. You remember Keontae George? I say
I
you
do.
remember Keontae George. Lots of shades of Keontae George in this game. He's a different player, but he is a sniper. He, I think, has a higher athletic upside than Reed Shepherd. Not
Mhm.
saying he's going to be better than Reed Shepherd. I don't think he's as skilled as Reed Shepherd at the current moment, but 3 and D has shown some playmaking flashes. The Spurs can hone that. Um, and I believe he's around 6'5" as well. But really,
Mhm.
he is just like he is an absolute sniper. That's the main thing that I notice whenever it comes to his tape. Maybe not as much off the dribble. He has shown a little bit of that ability. I probably need to go get a little bit of a refresher on his tape. Um, but I remember a friend of mine who covers college basketball sent me some stuff about him earlier in the year, and I continued to watch him. And I did, I believe, watch his midseason highlights and watched a couple games as well this year in the Big 12 at Baylor. And I think he's projected to go late lottery. I think he could be a steal. I don't know if we're even going to be in the range where we pick him because, like
Mhm.
we just mentioned, we may have other guys ranked above him. But that's a name to watch that I think is going a little bit under talked about in this draft. I think if he puts everything together and can develop some skills, like really he just needs to improve his playmaking. That's
Mhm.
the main thing I see with him. Um, I think he can end up being just one of the steals of this draft.
I don't know anything about him really, Jude, but with the same I could do my research eventually, but just one question about him for you. With
Yes.
the same thought process that we had with Dalton Connect as a guy that could at least come off the bench and get buckets, could that also apply to Jacoby Walter?
I would say for sure. But let me just check his age here because I'm pretty sure he's still a younger guy. Yeah, he's
Mm.
19, but he's a Texas kid. Went to McKinney and then went to Link Academy, which is kind of like it's almost like a EYBL school. It's like Monteverdi,
Mm.
where
Yeah.
Cooper Flag and all them are at. Um, but I think he could come in off the bench and score. But I don't know if I put this up earlier. But Victor says Jacoby Walter is definitely a two guard in my opinion, and he does have the size for that for sure. He says, but he is definitely fire.
Hmm.
Victor, you may need to do the show for us. He says Jacoby Walter reminds me of Dante DiVincenzo of New York. Sorry for spelling. No worries. That's
That's a good
that's
comp.
that's a good comp. Yeah.
I
I
like Dante DiVincenzo.
and he can put the ball on the floor. Like we saw it
Mhm.
at Villanova too. I understand why he's saying he's a two guard, and I want to say he's at the least he's 6'4", but I think he's 6'5". So he definitely kind of is more naturally that. But I think, it's not like you want to force guys into that position, but I just I trust the Spurs to teach dudes how to become good passers. You know what I'm saying?
No, right, yeah, absolutely. Do you know if, I don't know actually when this process begins, but has pre-draft workouts begun yet?
I don't think so. I think the combine is going to be like in the summer.
Oh, yeah. I'm so dumb. The
No, you're
draft
good.
lottery comes first, then all that begins. Pfft, I'm dumb. I'm
Yo,
just
you're
saying, like,
good.
this could be like a name that the Spurs work out that gets you thinking. Like, usually there's always
Yes.
1 or 2 guys like that are, like, a little later than we'd normally be picking, but, still manage to get an invite, so
Yes. Yes. Yes.